An emerging signal, satellites as a service. I'm Tonya Hall, and joining me is Jeremiah Owyang, industry analyst and founding partner at Kaleido Insights. Welcome, Jeremiah.
Thank you.
So, explain for our audience what Kaleido does, what Kaleido Insight does, and Insights does, and tell us about your role there.
Kaleido Insights is a boutique research firm based in Silicon Valley. We look at how new technologies impact business and society, and I'm a researcher.
All right. So, first, Airbnb and Uber allowed us to get a room and a ride.
Mhm.
Now the sharing economy, as it's called, has expanded to satellites. So what's happening beyond Google Earth and GPS to offer satellites as a service?
This is an emerging signal. It's not mainstream yet, but it's one to watch in the upcoming years. I don't know about you, Tanya, but I don't own a satellite. I don't have a rocket ship to launch one either. But now anybody can actually access one. There's a shared network of satellites, and there's thousands of them out there. And what they're doing is they're connecting to a number of base stations or ground stations, and they're sending this data down to companies like Amazon Cloud Services, who then resells and redistributes that data. Now, the difference between this data and Google Maps or Google Earth or Apple Maps is that this is real-time data, well, maybe a few hours. And so you can see the pattern of storms, you can see traffic, foot traffic, you can see actual pollution, and you can even see through clouds or smoke even for rescue missions. And so eventually, I can imagine we might even pay a monthly subscription to have a satellite watch over our house for security because we're spending hundreds of dollars potentially on Nest or Google products to watch in our houses. So why not over it?
So tell us about the basic building blocks of this industry, the CubeSat. What are they? And you, as you pointed out, I don't make them, so who makes them?
So CubeSats could be made, are small satellites that could be made by anybody, including students at schools, and they can hitch a ride with other rockets and then distribute around in orbit, in low Earth orbit. And there's also traditional satellites which may be government owned or privately owned, and they may have excess time or they have excess data that they may want to share. So that is the foundation. Secondly, there is the satellite dishes here on terra firma that can receive that information, and they're connected to the internet, which then distribute it through cloud services, which is a whole nother topic. So those are the three components that we tend to see in this early market.
So who has access? Does my boss, ex-spouse, or local law enforcement organization really get to monitor my home and movement on a whim?
So this is what's not really clear as we've looked into this space. Where are privacy and regulations allowed to? And obviously there's probably government concerns and even national security concerns from every single nation out in the world, let alone privacy. And we do know that some satellites have the capability of reading a license plate down to that level of granularity, and there's even more powerful ones that could come in the future. But whether or not that specific data type is going to be allowed is unclear. Um, we're watching to see how this information will be released on Amazon Cloud Services like Ground Station, and then we will eventually expect that regulators will catch up over time. I expect this to be yet another frontier around data privacy that we've seen in every other digital era.
So then who and what should we watch in the new year to understand the growth potential in this emerging signal?
The leader here, as I've mentioned multiple times, is Amazon. There's another startup called Spire, which has similar capabilities. And then what I'm expecting, though, of course, is that this will eventually become a privatized play where corporations might have access to their own satellite they may borrow or actually put up in space. So we might see a Coca-Cola satellite with their data tracking their logistics. We might see a CNET satellite that is tracking to see how information is flowing or looking at digital information. We don't really know, but this is definitely the next trend.
Jeremiah Owyang, industry analyst and founding partner at Kaleido Insights. If somebody wants to connect with you, Jeremiah, maybe they want to find out more about the work that you do at Kaleido, how can they do that?
You can squeak at me on Twitter, J. Yang.
Sounds good. Thanks again, Jeremiah. And if you guys want to find more of my interviews, you can do that right here or go to tonyahall.net. Thanks for watching.